the temperatures have been changing and rain sometimes and no rain, but the sun has been out, and I know we are coming to the end of the rainy season, and the dry season, sorry, the dry, and about to start the rainy season. So it's going to be quite an exciting time. I want to continue today, and I want to bring back some of the things that we should have had, but I suppose we haven't been able to have over the last couple because of the technology. And today we are really trying a new concept for you, and I trust that you would be getting a surprise. And I'm trying to make sure the surprise really works. I trust it works well for us. So we were talking about the whole transition context. Now, you have been inside for almost 2 months. That says it's 8 weeks. We're now eighth week, and because today is the 10th. Yeah, we started this on the 16th. So really, let's say 7 weeks. And so you have been inside. You have been climatizing to the inside and wondering exactly how is this thing working out for me, so that when we see the issue here of change, transitioning, looking at the fact that I have had to shut down, I've had to do things differently, I've had to work out my own salvation with much fear and trembling, and that's a scripture that I know that has been used. We have to see what's going to happen in the next 7 weeks, because just now we're going to have a new announcement. Now, I want you to realize that you have had to conform to different protocols within your home. We're not just talking about washing the hands and sanitizing. We're talking about washing your minds. How you've had to cleanse it in terms of how you related one with the other. How you've had to help yourself to sustain a particular equilibrium and define how you worked out the differences with your family members, the differences with your neighbors, and of course the differences with your own regime. Here it is, you are now forced, maybe, or you allowed yourself to get up earlier and or get up later because you went to bed earlier or you went to bed later. You ate whenever you wish, or you may have kept your routine. But whatever was happening, the routine was definitely different. I recognize for me, I am here cooking during the day. Usually I cook at night. I am not at home during the day. And so therefore my meal concepts have been different. My timing has been different and I still have things to do. Therefore, how do I maximize my morning as to be different from my afternoons as against what it was then? How do I therefore understand that I have been reclimatized in my eyesight and my hearing in terms of sounds and noise and sights? I'm not seeing the highways, I'm not seeing the trees, I'm not seeing the passovers, I'm not seeing many people. It's just in who is in the house. And that sometimes could go between two up to five, maybe 10 in some families, but it's limited to the vast amount of people. And I say vast, as you go through towns and villages and stations and bus stations and transport, etc., and into the cities, you would have had a greater orientation. Here it is now that your brain has come down to two. You know, I've heard about fasting, and I've heard about when people fast, there's acclimatization. Your stomach shrinks. And so, therefore, because why? You have not been eating so much for a period of time. And so with that shrinking of the stomach, you recognize that when you start back eating, you have to get back gradual. And you have to eat as maybe, as I've heard, if you're fasting for 7 days, you should take you 7 days to get back there. If you're fasting for 21, it's the same amount of time for your stomach to get back to where it has been. I want to suggest that when we go out, maybe from the 15th, after the Prime Minister has, in our country, that is TNT. And for you in your own country, I know that the bans have been lifted, some of the protocols have been changing. How do you work out that difference in the next couple of weeks? How do you decide that you are going to be able to work that? Now, you are going back out there. Excuse me, are you ready for out there? Are you ready for that kind of difference? Are you ready to recognize that I am going to be out there, and I have to be sensitizing myself to, hey, it's not home anymore. Hey, it's people. Hey, even though I'm going back to my office, I'm going back to my school, or I'm going back to the playing field, it's going to have that difference in terms of the environmental, what we call environmental press. The way I am now going to handle my space is going to be different because my psyche has been changed. So, having learned to find equilibrium over the last 7 weeks, haven't learned how to climatize and to bring in the certain dynamics of how to recreate my home and recreate games and ideas to make sure there's mediation, I use the word mediation, within our families, and sobriety and balance and love and laughter. Now I have to undo that, and I'm rushing back out of the house maybe at a particular time. I have to get meals at a particular time. I have to do it differently. I have to go back into my wardrobe. I haven't gone there for a while to take out all these nice clothes to go to work with or to go out with. Now I have to recalibrate. So we are going back to another set of protocols. We are going back not just about the handling of the hands and the social distancing, but we have to recognize that we are recreating another different world. I trust this is exciting for you. It is. So let's see. I am going back out there. What am I expecting? Am I expecting a difference? Am I expecting that it's going to be what? A new paint color, new shift in the furniture, or apart from the cobweb and the dust that I may have to work out first, and therefore there's going to be a cleaning factor which I may not want to engage, but I will certainly have somebody engaging in that for me. I am going to have to learn how to re-enter the norms. I have to recalibrate that there's going to be a new tradition now. Because my mind has been changed. I have a new timetable. How is that now? Before, my timetable was a platform of social media and Zoom, etc. Now, do I need Zoom? Do I need these platforms? Am I able to go back to having face-to-face meetings? Am I going to be able to say to people, hey, let's not lie over there, we can meet by Zoom and chat? Am I going to be readily texting and video cameraing, etc. during the next couple of weeks? Or am I going to have now to say, oh, go back there? Now, who's coming out? Because people are still going to be psychologically affected by the space. As much as we want to go out, we know that there is still the possibility of recontracting the virus. Or, as in other countries which open up their borders, change their protocols very quickly, they saw numbers reach a resurgence of numbers. So I know our government is going to be aware of that. I know many governments are going to be aware of that. So you may not be able to go back to the malls or the beaches just yet. You may not be able to go mountain climbing as you want or sailing as you wish. But we got to recognize now that we have to spoon feed ourselves the other way now. We have to reclimatize to this environment in which we have not worked for 7 weeks. Let me tell you something. As I give the analogy of the fasting, I know that your stomach really, if you eat too fast after a fast, it is going to be cramping. And I know there are people out there who can testify of cramps. But you wonder, how am I going to get a cramp? You're going to get a psychological cramp. You're going to now have to be wondering, how am I fitting in? Who is saying what? What is going on here or not? We have to learn now how to re-engage, and to identify the strengths that I have. So let me give you some ideas and some tips about this. When I'm going to a new environment, I have to do a recce. So what I'm going to do is to familiarize myself with my environment. Let's see what's new. Let's see what I want to keep, what I want to change, and what I don't need to change. So we are going to take our time now to see, can we continue using some of the things we use? Why? Because our environment may not need to be changed. What can I keep? What can I keep? For me, if I give a personal testimony here, I want to keep learning how to use Zoom, to teach, to counsel, to share. I want to keep that. What I don't want to keep, maybe I don't. What I can put away, I can put away the much scented hand sanitizers, maybe. I maybe use that less. I may want to change my eating pattern. Oh, I may want to keep that. What about my sleep pattern? I may even want to change that back. Because now I can't go to bed late anymore because I have to go out early in the morning. So you have to sit down and reconcile the things that matter to you and how you want to do that. The second thing would be, how do I want to share and embrace people with whom I have not been with for the last 7 weeks? My family, I learned them over the last 7 weeks. That was challenging but successful. And these people with whom I am going to see now, or with whom I'm going to have interaction with, they have grown apart from me, away from me for the last 7 weeks. They have been doing things differently, and maybe they would have had different personalities emerging from within those 7 weeks. So I have to now learn my friends anew. My bosses, my employers may want to do things differently. They may not want to meet anymore on a Monday morning or Tuesday. They say, let's meet on a platform. Now I'm getting more emails or getting more seminars or getting more meetings on the platform. So we have to recalibrate in context of the urgency and the need of the hour. And of course, we want to make sure that our objectives are real. The objectives are established for what they are and for how they are. The third thing I think we have to see is, how do we go forward with the difference? 7 weeks ago, you did not know about 7 weeks later. You went forward with struggle, but yet you were overcoming. I'm suggesting that we're going to have to learn to overcome as we go back out and as we bring those changes to bear within our workplace, within the public space, and so much more coming back home. And that's my fourth thing. How do I now reassess my home interaction that is going to be new again, because I am not there during the day. I go out and come back, and I'm bringing with me all my experiences of the day, and I have to face the experiences that are home. I thought I had time, but now I recognize I don't. Even when I'm here, when I go back home, go out, will I have more time? What will be the expectation, or what are the expectations of the future with my fellow loved ones, and also within myself? When we talk about behavior is always spoken in context of environmental stimuli. And we know that once the stimuli changes, and once stimuli presents difference, there are going to be different emotions that will establish different behaviors. And so therefore, it will be necessary for us to slow down and to even talk as much as we have been talking over the last 7 weeks. We have to therefore find methodologies that will help us to go forward within those next 7 weeks. We have to define that we have to have an energy, and I use the word energy. We have to have that passion to make it work. There are people out there who have different persuasions. because of their backgrounds, and they're going to interpret the freedoms differently. They are going to be interpreting the changes differently. Within your home, for the last 7 weeks, you would have been able to manage those changes. So the family members all behave with one motive and with one objective. You're going back out there, and you're going to have people who you think are silly, stupid, insensitive, don't care, because they're going to be working out their salvation. And I say that their behaviors differently because of how they interpret what has been said. We realize even now with the shutdown, people are still partying. People are still going out and sneaking to the beach or sneaking out here because people do not understand the context of restraint. But yet, when we go back out, there is still going to be restraint. There is always restraint. And so, therefore, how do I work that restraint now differently? As if I'm going to go back to go forward. So that we have to have that sensitivity of the difference within our public space to come back home and argue. You know what I'm doing? So we can be much more anxious and frustrated, arguing about the people out there who we call silly, foolish, etc. because they have a different interpretation to protocol. I think we have some work cut out for us. I think that we have need of our tomorrows, and we want to make sure that those tomorrows are safe. But so much more, they are psychologically sound, and our mental health, which is important for our physical health. A lot of us may be complaining of headaches, maybe some backaches, some or neck pains. It's not so much hypertension. It's the fact that we've had to be struggling so much with inner emotions to work out this shutdown. Now, with that release, there's going to be even more because people are going to be questioning you when you get back home. You sure you wash your hands daily, you sanitize, you get social distance. We're going to have the list to keep answering. So, therefore, in conclusion, your control. Have you been controlled? Are you still in control? Let me tell you something. It is something we have to talk about maybe the next time. Boundaries are always going to be present, no matter what, no matter how. You are always going to have rules, regulations, laws, statutes, ordinances. Call them by whatever now you want. They are going to be all limits and boundaries. We cannot seem to get rid of that. Why? Because it is important for our development and our safety. Our body grows within its limits of height and maybe width. With our heart, everything has lengths and breadths and inches. You know you have years that they count. Every 365 that number change. So let me tell you something. The limit of one age is bounded by 365 days or 366 sometimes. So therefore, let's remember that as we continue going forward with this different world, with this different concept, we have to remember the word change is inevitable. We have to work with it. As let me remind you, there are those things I pointed out. When you go back out there for the next 7 weeks, when you hear the new protocols, remember it's not about you doing your own thing. It is still to have a responsibility to maintain a homeostasis, and maintain an equilibrium that will continue to keep each country safe from the virus. So whether you're up north America, whether you're in Europe, looking at me, whether you're down south in New Zealand or Australia, whether you're in the Caribbean or South America, wherever you are, we are going to have to work out different protocols because our environments will be different and the stimuli will cause different behaviors. So let's be responsible for our tomorrows. Let's continue to establish the way forward. Let us continue to establish that God is in our future. And I cannot not talk about the Lord because with all the psychology we want to talk about, it is so connected. We are living souls with our will, our emotion, and our mind. They're working together to present proper balances within our communities and within our home. So let success continue to grow for you. Let there be continued joys as you go back out with these new protocols from May 15th. But let us be sensitive, not to feel like we just bull in a china shop. We can do what? No.